set things up a little bit here. It's not like a big magic trick or something, it's just a display table. So yeah, welcome everyone. Oh, this is my clicker. And we're all set, I guess. So welcome. My name is Anne Bras, and I'm a video game collector. I'm also known as the PC King. More about that later. So yeah, so I collect video games, as the title implies. And what kind of video games do I collect? Well, I actually collect every type of video game, from the Commodore 64 to Nintendo, PlayStation, Sega Mega Drive, whatever you can think of, I collected. But I do have a little focus on a specific type of platform, and that is PC games. So, and PC games, when you go to the stores right now, you usually see these DVD-cased PC games, and that's actually not what I collect. What I collect is big boxed PC games. So let me give you an example here. Diablo, everyone knows Diablo, right? So here, yeah, the big box is a thing that really let my heart beat faster, and I'm going to explain why big box PC games works for me. Well, first of all, it's the art of the box. If you just you have this big canvas of the box that really takes you into the game. Just when you look at these games, they really grab you right where, yeah, they just take you right into it. So here are some examples that are some of my favorites there. But my all-time favorite is this one, Laraboe and the Dagger of Amon-Ra. The ambience is perfect, and it's a sort of mystique-looking box. And it was inspired by the art of Joseph Christian Leyendecker. Here you see one of the Saturday Evening Post. Every time he made the front cover of it, and you can definitely see a resemblance there. And not only the cover art was inspired by Joseph, also the main character. Here you see another art piece of Joseph, and you can definitely see the resemblance there. And another thing that is really cool about big box games, and that's the design. I also have here an example game. It's Spectre VR. It's a really neat design there, and here are other examples like Day of the Tentacle. Are the people here familiar with Day of the Tentacle? I see some hands going up, all right. Really great game. It's an old DOS game. Here's actually where the talkie version came out. They made a different kind of box, and it's called a triangle box. You also see here the Dune game. And Dune, yeah, as you can see, when you fold it open, a sandworm just open and close its mouth, which is really, really neat. And those are actually the things that I love about these big box games. And also I have a favorite in this category, and that's 11th Hour. And from outside, you actually don't see that much mystical about it, but when you open it up, now this is called the Clockwork Edition, and I'll show you why. You see a little handle there, you see a little clock, and when you pull this side, it sort of opens on both sides. You have to catch it a little bit, and the handle, the arm, moves right up. And inside here you have the game, and those are just really beautiful things that you actually don't see that much anymore in special editions nowadays, if there is already a special edition. So yeah, the box design is something that can really take you. Here's for the people that don't see it on the stage, you can see it here, folded open. And then there is the Feelies. Every big box game, or not every big box game, but many of them come with nice Feelies inside it. Here's a great example. It's Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Well, it's very well known for, I think, the movie and the books, but it originally started as a how do you say it, a radio sound thing. I don't know what you call it. Sound show. And then there are these little Feelies inside. And here are some examples. There's fluff inside, because obviously it gets everywhere. Destruct orders for your home and planet. A big button with don't panic on it. And of course the super chromatic, pulsal sensitive sunglasses. And even there's no tea in the box. Because just like the tea professional hitchhikers don't carry with them. It's inside this box. Really cool. And the whole microscopic space fleet. An entire space fleet fits in this box. It's so microscopic that you can't see it, but it's in there. So really nice addition to this game. And then what's my favorite game of all time? And this is a very difficult question, because you can look at the box art or look at the box itself, gameplay, story, the music maybe. And when we bundle all this together, there are actually two #1 games for me, and that's these two. Monkey Island 1 and 2. I'm not sure how many people are familiar with that, but it's, I'm really a point-and-click adventure gamer. And these two really stand out there. Story is brilliant, really nice box art of Steve Purcell. And yeah, this is really like my youth. And I was actually pretty young when I played this game. I was watching over the shoulders of my older brother and my cousins. So yeah, but that's how I learned my English as well. And I just got right into the game, and I wanted to play it every time again. So beautiful games there. I hear you on the big screen. So what's my favorite game-related item? Now this is a funny thing, because I'm a collector for many years now, and not only do you have the box and the things that come inside, but sometimes you get things on your path that are a little unique, a little bit more, it really adds on to this collecting world. So one of the examples here is Just Jackrabbit, The Secret Files, a balloon. It's just from the release party, and after the release party, it just got back into storage, so it didn't get to see the light of day afterwards, until a few months back, where I got this from the publishers. So it's a really nice addition to my collection. Here we have Fallout 3 Beer. It's also for the release party, and there was actually quite a lot of this, but eventually all the developers they just like to drink beer, obviously. So at this point, this beer is extremely rare to find, and this is a complete 4-pack. Then we have these film slides of Ultima. I don't know if there are any Ultima fans in here. These are film slides that are actually used to make the box cover, which is really unique. And I got this from Joe from the Origin Museum. And he's a really nice guy, and he gave these to me as a really beautiful addition to my collection. And then last but not least, John Romero's Broken Keyboard. Yeah, no questions. Sorry. There are there other collectors here? You might think that big box PC games is like a very niche little thing. But there's actually a lot going on here. You might have maybe heard of LGR or Metal Jesus Rocks. They have really nice YouTube channels. And LGR is really focusing on these big box PC games, also a lot of hardware. Metal Jesus Rocks, that's a lot of games. And a large portion of those games are big box PC games. So that's really cool. Pushing Up Roses, she focuses a lot on adventure games. She has a nice collection as well. And then there's DOS Gamert, and DOS Gamert is actually more of he shows gameplay in a very pure way, so it's very high quality, and without any commentary. You just look up a level and you find it completely played through with, if it's possible, all the bonuses. So that's really nice to look at. He does a lot of streaming lately, so definitely check those out. But there's one place, as a big box PC game collector, where we sort of all connect, and that is this Facebook group, the Big Box Computer Game Collectors. They just changed the name, so if you want to look it up, you have to search for the Big Box PC Game Collectors in Facebook, and you will find it. Over 3,500 members, and this is actually almost like a second family to me. There are even a lot of developers in there. You can ask any questions you want about games you like. So it's a really interesting group. So yeah, where do I get my games? Well, first of all, I get them from secondhand shop, thrift stores, and flea markets. I just go there when I come across one. Here's one actually in Vilnius. This is not really a retro thing. I was just looking it up. This is the only thing that I came across. I'm not sure if there are any retro game shops here in Vilnius. So maybe if you know anything, just come talk to me later, and I can check it out myself later on. Online, a lot of games I get online, and actually, of course, eBay is very well known for this. But there's in the Netherlands. I'm from the Netherlands, and there's this website called Marktplaats. And like 12 years ago, Marktplaats wasn't that old, and I just bought every game that I could find on Marktplaats. It was just all for €1 each. People were just throwing away all their collections, and I just bought it completely. So this is actually a screenshot from, I think, the day before yesterday, just a random screenshot to show you that there's still big box games out there, but the prices do rise a lot. And then we have donations. This is a very beautiful donation I got from Humphrey. And as you can see, like, we have 7 guests there. We have Myst, we have System Shock. There are a lot of classics, all the Monkey Islands above there, and even a little hidden Doom, if you can see it. And it's like these are amazing games to get as a collector. And when you build up a name a little bit, you also get donations from game companies. So these game companies, they see you and they see that you're very passionate about your hobby. And here is actually a picture of Triumph Studios. They've been like a company for 20 years. They now merged together with another company. And they actually were very, they saw how much I was busy with collecting and how I displayed it to the world. So they donated their 20 years of games all to me, and this is all sealed and all new, and all the original games. So that's really amazing, and it happens actually more often. So yeah, how did it all start? Well, as every collector, it all started with nothing, actually. So I was just a little kid, and I loved playing games. I loved it so much that I also made a lot of drawings of games. Like here is Goblins 3, very unique adventure game, and this is a drawing that I made. I think I was around 11 years old. Here's another game. I was 7 years old here, and you see how detailed it represents the game, especially that last one. I just went all out there, really all my love put into it. So yeah, I just love playing these games. But then eventually it came down to this one day, and that is the Queensday of 2006. And I first have to explain what Queensday is. Queensday is actually one day in the Netherlands once a year where we celebrate the Queen's birthday. Well, now we have a king, so we now call it Kingsday, but back then it was Queensday. And to show you a little bit what it's like, this is Queensday. This is on Amsterdam on a regular day, and this is Amsterdam on Kingsday or Queensday. So everyone goes all out, and this is not just Amsterdam. It's actually the entire Netherlands. Every city is celebrating this, which is amazing. But there's also something else going on, not only the partying and the drinking and the festivals, it's also the little flea markets. And like every city has like these cloths on the ground, and you just put your rubbish on there and your garbage, and you put a price tag on it, and people buy it. So here you see me in my red pants, and I was selling my stuff to later on buy new stuff. And that's when it actually happened. That's when I found my very first boxed PC game, and I brought it with me as well. And that's this one, Day of the Tentacle. You have already seen the triangle box. I got that later on. This is the very first game of my collection. And I bought it for €2.50, and it was 12 years ago. And I was just so amazed by this box. I had played the game before on a CD-ROM, just a jewel case. I loved the game, but this was the first time that I saw the box. And like the art is beautiful, and it took me right into it. That's when I realized that big boxes are like a sort of beautiful art form. So yeah, then I talked to a friend about it, and like many friends actually. But this one guy, he called me up a few weeks later, and he found these 3 box PC games, and it was Diablo 1, Diablo 2, and Dungeon Keeper. Well, those are all amazing games, and the boxes are really pretty. And they were all €1 each, so yeah, I couldn't say no to that. So then I had these 4 big box PC games. And I also had other collections, like Nintendo was actually my biggest collection. I had a lot of Nintendo games. And this was where I sort of had to choose between Nintendo games and big box PC games. Because, yeah, Nintendo games, I had like 70 games already. And for big box PC games, I only had 4 games. But then I still decided to go for the big box PC games because I didn't know any other collectors. So I thought it was more exciting in a way. And also in my youth, I used to play a lot of these games back in the day, and Nintendo a little less actually. And I already knew like maybe 12 other collectors back then, so that was already a big thing for other collectors. So yeah, big box PC games. And here you see my room back in 2008. Yeah, I like how I decorated the place. A little LucasArts down there, Command and Conquer up there. And yeah, I just made it all up as I went through my room. And then I thought, yeah, I had around 150 games or so, and I was thinking, well, maybe I could sort of organize an exhibition. So in my graduation year at school, this was my very first exhibition, and I was actually very happy that my teachers allowed me to have this exhibition. As you can see, it's not behind glass or anything. It's just there, open to people. But yeah, I was there all the time. And what was actually funny, that every person who came in, they all said the same thing. They were all saying, wow, I have played that game back in the day. Obviously, it was for different games per person, but you could really, it was something funny that I didn't imagine that it was about to happen. As in, you could really almost physically see this nostalgia going through their body while they were watching at these games, like these happy faces. So that really meant to me a lot that I was doing something that I love doing, and I was giving it to other people as well. And then I met Peter, and Peter was known for having the largest big box collection in the Netherlands. And as you can see, I don't have a picture of him. I did have one picture, but my computer got stolen, and I only had the backups to go on, and no picture of him, sorry. But yeah, I met him. I was like, this guy has the largest collection in the Netherlands. I just have to meet this guy. So I contacted him. I went to his place. We traded a lot of games. We talked actually quite a lot. We didn't play games that much. It was a lot of talking. Yeah, he was kind of proud about that his games were holy to him, and that he was a smoker, but he never smoked anywhere near his game, so he was pretty proud of that. But sadly, in 1.5 years that I knew him, he passed away because of lung cancer. And this was a very sad moment, because this was like a big friend to me, and then suddenly he was gone. And his games, he went to his sons. He had 2 sons, and because I had this great connection with him, I was able to buy these games from his sons. And so here you see the collection that I bought. And it was actually, this was my first big haul that I had. I had like 150 games before, and now I had 600 more, which was an amazing expansion to my collection. And then, yeah, I didn't have enough room in my own in my own room, so I had to search for a storage. And I was actually very lucky to that my former boss had a nice storage for me. So here you see all the boxes piled up, all banana boxes. I was eating a lot of bananas back then. No, but and this is actually also the same room or the same place where I made this famous picture. And it was, don't worry, by the way, it's there's a stool underneath, so I'm not crushing the games. So just to say that. So I made that picture and I put it online, and someone turned that picture into this picture, and then it went on 9gag, and it went viral all over. And it was all the same time that Game of Thrones was there already as well. So yeah, it really took over the world. And then I sort of realized that the media was kind of a big thing as well. So I went searching online for other collectors. And eventually I found this, not actually this picture. I couldn't find the picture anymore, but it's something similar. This is actually a collection of a friend of mine. And my mind was blown when I saw this. It was like all these cabinets filled with games, and I've never seen a big collection like that. And underneath was like, it was known for world's largest collection. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then I started counting these games and looking at these shelves, and I was like, oh, wait, I have easily twice as many games. And it's just that I have never displayed it in a way that I could see all my games. It was all in big boxes, in these banana boxes. So I never saw my own personal collection. So that's when I thought, well, maybe I should make sort of like a panorama picture of all my games. And that's what I did. So to give you an idea, so this is in 2013. So with a really awesome team of people who helped me out. And yeah, this picture went on the internet as well, and it was really great. And the fun thing about this is that this was all, as you can see, in the weekend. So I had one day, Saturday, to set it all up, and then Sunday to clean it all up again. But yeah, these games were my passion, and there was one problem there. There was a night in between the Saturday and the Sunday, and this night was a night where I wasn't able to be with my games. And you know what could happen when I'm not with my games, of course. I mean, someone could steal it, or mice could eat it. I don't know, maybe it would evaporate. So we thought of a solution. I actually slept here with my game. This is actually a picture that I've never shown to anyone. And the fun thing is that I didn't have a little bed lamp next to me. There was just a light switch that turned off the light in the entire room. But when I turned off the light, there actually seemed to be a little lamp next to my bed. It was the game Alone in the Dark, and it was a glow-in-the-dark game, so I actually had a little lamp there. I was kind of surprised by that. So yeah, and then it all had to go back to storage again. But I had this amazing picture, so that was really cool. But then I decided to go to the Games and Computers Museum. I wanted to do more with these games instead of just having them in storage and letting them collect dust. I wanted to give this to the people. I wanted to show it to the people so people can play these games and see them for themselves instead of just in my own room. So yeah, I contacted them, and that's when we decided to move my games to there. And actually, every time when I see this picture, I realize how lucky I am to have really supportive parents in my hobby. I think many people's parents would go crazy about a crazy hobby like this. But both my father and my mother and my wife are all very supportive, and I'm very grateful for that. So yeah, I love this picture. Here's the sorting out of the games. So it went all to the museum. You see like these letters above them. I tried to do it on alphabetical order, but then of developer. It's really, you have to think these through to how you set it all up. And there are some exceptions, so some of them are developers, and there's some of publishers, because they're more known for that. And then eventually it looked like this. This is 2016, and it has grown a lot. And at the moment, it is I can actually add 10 more of those cabinets next to it. So it has grown a lot even since this moment. And it's now known as world's largest big box PC game collection, which is actually a pretty big thing. So yeah, that's you would say that sort of I achieved my goal. I've collected world's largest collection of big box PC games. I've displayed it to the public. I've actually had a lot of talks on TV, on radio, on YouTube, which is really cool. In the newspaper, I've been in the magazines. And I've had the honor of organizing some of these spectacular exhibitions. So here are some examples. And I met a lot of really cool people in my life. Maybe you recognize some of them. Like Vault Boy, for example, is a really terrific guy. And I met Batman, so my life is complete, right? So yeah, what's next, you would say? And this is sort of where I am at the moment. So what I'm sort of trying to do now is turning this word collecting a little bit more into archiving. And yeah, of course, I can grow my collection. It will be on growing from now on. I will never stop collecting more games. And I'm also working on an official world record attempt, but it takes a lot of time. I do know that I sort of have the right amount of games, but they all have to be photographed, which took me quite some time, like multiple years, because every individual game and its content needs to be photographed, which is a lot of work. And also there needs to be an official counting. And that's also happened already. I'm not spoiling any numbers at the moment, but this is ongoing, and it will be very shortly after this that we will have this number up towards Guinness World Records, which is very exciting. And of course, these games are also degradable. So what I also try to do is that I try to archive them in a digital way, so that I can keep them playable for public, also for personal reasons, so that they don't go out in history and that eventually you won't be able to play these games anymore. So that's something that I try to do. And as luck would have it, that was actually the moment where this job fell right into my lap at the Beeld en Geluid Museum, or the Sound and Vision Museum in English. And that's, this is a museum which is known for archiving, well, mostly radio and television, but they try to expand more to the new media, and games is actually part of that new media. So I'm part of that. They were searching for someone with a little bit of knowledge of games, so I think that was written all over me. So I'm very lucky to work there. So one cool thing about working there is that I get to meet a lot of developers, mostly Dutch developers, because we're focusing mainly on Dutch games, because we're from the Netherlands, and if we don't focus on these Dutch games, then probably nobody will. And it's a nice start. And yet, getting in contact with these developers is really cool. I already had a huge network, so I know a lot of developers already. But I think that this is really connecting us. Like, it makes the bonding even bigger, which is really cool. Here we have 2 arcade cabinets set up in a museum. So we can now play these Dutch games. They're open for public, and they can sort of relive this Dutch history, which is great. And here's a nice, real cool project of Drop Stuff. There's a game called A2 Racer. It's very famous in the Netherlands. And they made a sort of simulator. And it was all in collaboration with us and the developers. So that's really cool things that we're doing right now. And also we have like a timeline like this, where we sort of have a selection of Dutch games, and you can read something about it. So it's really cool that this is all happening. And yeah, that is basically how it is at the moment. So thank you very much for listening to my talk. And if you have old games at home, you can contact me to this website. Maybe if you have a donation, or if you just want to talk in general about collecting stuff or want any tips, just contact me, and that would be really cool. So thank you very much, everyone. Yep.
Any questions for Arne? Anyone? Don't see any hands.
I would like to ask,
Yeah.
what's the general worth of your collection? Have you counted it?
Sorry, I'm not sure where to look at. Oh, sorry. Yes.
Yeah, me.
Yeah.
So, general worth of your collection. Have you
The
counted
worth?
it? Yes.
Wow. No, I don't have an official number, and it's really hard to. There's actually a game is actually worth what you're willing to pay for it, and it makes the answer to your question very difficult. So, yeah, I don't think so. So, what were you willing to give for my collection? Sorry.
Well,
No, I don't know.
A lot.
Yeah, so I don't have any number on how much it's worth. It's a lot of money, I think, over the years. It's all from my own money, these games, and I don't keep track. Yeah. So
That's cool.
There was a question on your left there.
Hello. So I would like to ask you, like, since we're becoming more and more like digital industry, like in the gaming and everywhere, you know, how does like that affects you as a collector? I mean, in terms of like, is it harder to get games? Is it like, you know, your collection becoming like the games are becoming more like hard to get and more expensive, like physical copies?
yeah,
And where it goes?
yeah, that is actually happening. Games are getting more expensive, even in ridiculous ways. That people ask so much money for games that it doesn't. It's not compared to what it's worth to me, at least. And also, yeah, these games get more in like these DVD cases, but also like Steam keys. So eventually, you don't have these physical games anymore. And I'm not seeing this as a negative thing or a positive thing. I think I now have a scope, so I can sort of, or this is where it ends. So if I collect all these games till then I know that I have everything. But no, it's not. It doesn't influence me that much. And also, yeah, one thing is that in the beginning, every game was around like €1 each. So I bought this all from the internet. But now, yeah, people ask ridiculous prices. The games are getting more rare, so that makes it really difficult to find these games. But on the other hand, and that's, I think, my personal luck, is that I get in contact with a lot of these people that want to help me out. So I get a lot of these donations these days. And like I said, also from companies themselves, which makes me get some really unique items that I usually won't be able to get. So yeah, it's.
Can I follow the question?
Sorry?
Can I follow the question? One more.
Follow the next question.
One. Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
I just thought like maybe I missed that, but like, what is the most? Since you said you're buying games sometimes, right? What is the most expensive you paid for a game?
I think the most that I paid for one game, and I have to think a bit because it has been some time ago. I think it is for Commander Keen, Aliens Ate My Babysitter. It's the sixth part of Commander Keen. Are the people here familiar with Commander Keen? Some hands here. Maybe it's a younger public here, but it's a game that I love, and it's very collectible actually in the collectors community. But I think, yeah, €400 was around the price. And that was actually, I think it's, to me, that is maybe, that game is worth that much for me personally. but yeah, some games are worth maybe way more. There are some Ultima games that are like very expensive, or well, people ask a lot of money for it, and some people would buy it for that money. But I'm actually searching in a way that I hope to find these treasures for a very nice price. So yeah, that's also part of the hunt, right? It's like a treasure hunt all the time and finding these treasures weekly, which is an amazing thing. That's part of the hobby. So yeah.
Thank you.
No problem.
Hi.
Hey
It's a
there.
bit similar question. Maybe there was some game which was very hard to get, not in the money, not in the price point, but just some kind of,
What game
convincing
is
people, a journey or something.
Yeah. So what one of the hardest games to get? You mean like? There was a game. We all probably know Duke Nukem, mainly probably Duke Nukem 3D, but there's this game Duke Nukem 1, which is the platform DOS game. And there was a box version of that game, and it's called Duke Nukem. But there was some sort of copyright thing going on, because there was this series on TV, Captain Planet, and there's this guy which is also called Duke Nukem. So they said, no, it's not allowed to use the name Duke Nukem because we have a character in our series that is also called Duke Nukem. So they had to change the name, and there was this period where there was Duke Nukem with a U, so K-U-M on the box. And that is actually, it was out there for a short period of time, and then they figured out that there wasn't any copyright on the name, so they could change the box back to with an E. So in this box, it's a tiny box, but it's very collectible and really, really hard to get. And I think I'm very proud to have that in my collection. So, thank you.
Anybody else?
Well, I have one more question.
One more question?
You have a quite big collection of older games. What's your opinion about collecting now these games? Will you do it?
Sorry, again, the question.
Will you collect current generation games?
I actually, I'm not sure. Maybe time will tell a little bit. I think my main focus will stay on these big box PC games. I do have a large Steam library, but it's not like these current games. I do collect them. So there are these titles that are for the PlayStation 4 or I don't know, the Nintendo Switch. Just the good titles I try to get in my collection and play them because I just love those games. But it's never going to be as big as this is, and this will forever be my passion. So,
thank you.
Hope that answers your question. Yeah. Ah.
Hello.
Hey there.
What is the oldest game you have?
The oldest game that I have. I'm not really sure. I think it might be. I'm working on a list in Excel, an Excel sheet where I put all these information in there. So it's an ongoing process. But I think it's Mystery House. It's a Sierra game, and it's like a sort of. There has been a murder, and you have to solve this murder. And it was actually, it's known as to be the first graphical adventure game. So you type in with text, and you see like an image, which is almost like a paint drawing, and it's all in black and white. But I think that's one of the oldest games that I have in my collection. Yeah, and it didn't come in a big box. It came in a sleeve, so it's maybe not even part of the big box collection, but I put it in there because it's part of Sierra, and I collect Sierra games. So I think that's my oldest one. So.
Looks like everybody, yeah?
I think so.
Yeah, thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.